The Wednesday week is sponsored by the Riverside Cafe, the perfect place for a pre-match pint.
There's a chance here, a great save by Turner from McClare. Might come a terrific goal by Sheridan.
Brentman against Jones. Get in.
You could have two goalkeepers in there that would have trouble saving.
Hello there, ladies and gentlemen, and a very warm welcome to the Wednesday week, the Sheffield Wednesday podcast. I'm Lord Hillsborough, and with me online, first of all, we have Victoria, my darling. How the devil are you?
Good evening, my lord. We haven't crossed paths for quite a while now, have we? It's been a few weeks since we were both in the fold, so to speak.
I've not been avoiding you, Vic, at all, I promise.
Oh.
I have.
I tried. And of course, as you heard on the line there, we have Mr. Davis, Dickie, old boy. How the chuff are you?
Absolutely fantastic, Lord H. Good to be speaking to you all on this Friday evening as we're recording this time.
Yeah,
just before we're all going out to get lashed.
Oh, that bloody snow, eh?
Yes,
Storm Emma has ruined the Wednesday week this week.
We'll blame the snow for our tardiness this week, shall we? Because
I think it's snow on Eddie's line, isn't it? Because last time we had a reply for him, let alone spoke to him. So there must be snow constantly on his line.
In fairness, my lord, it really genuinely has been the snow, because we both tried to record with Rich on, was it Wednesday night we tried to log on? I had no Wi-Fi, you had no electricity.
That was all right, yeah.
You were fine at top of hill, you. Yeah. Bloody hell.
Absolutely. I had Jeeves running around on his little sort of hamster wheel as quickly as he could, trying to generate some electricity, but alas, we had none. So, yes, I apologise, ladies and gentlemen. But we're here now, and aren't you glad to hear from us, boys and girls? Because it's been a wonderful week for Wednesday news, hasn't it? Yay!
Yeah, lots of it. And the club been closed most of the week. I think they were closed on Tuesday night as well in Swansea.
Can it close till May, please?
Yeah.
I said it on Twitter, I'll say it again this season, and go and get chuffed, honestly.
Fuck itself, yes.
Right, but there has been a few little positives. So let's start off, shall we, first of all, with the Villa game, which was a game that I was quite looking forward to, because as we all know, we always play better against better teams, don't we, boys and girls? We
do. And you know what? First half was great. It was great. And then
chuffing lovely.
Yeah. Can we just finish? Could we not just finish the game at half time? That would have been great.
Well, thank you very much for joining us this week, ladies and gentlemen. It's been an absolute pleasure speaking with you.
No, do you know what? I've broken my rule over the Villa game in that I never ever blame the officials, because I think it seems so bitter and so sour after a match to blame officials. But I tell you for one, that was absolutely diabolical from those officials.
It wasn't a great performance, was it?
Awful. And do you know what? I've sat through many a game, and we've come on here afterwards and we've talked about it and said, oh, that should have been this, that should have been that. You know, if we'd have got that penalty, if they hadn't got that penalty, that was dreadful. And I think the stats speak for themselves, don't they? It was just, I genuinely don't do it, because I've got one really good friend who's a Blades fan, and she'll always blame the referee. And in fairness, when I've watched it back, a lot of the time she is right. But I hate doing it, because I just think it gives people ammunition. But I think anyone who watched that game cannot say that referee had a good match.
No, he didn't at all, did he? He really just... I don't think he got hold of the game. And you know, John Terry played him. Absolutely played him. He played a blinder on the referee just by getting in his ear early doors. And fair play to Terry for that. You know, as much as I think he's a... I'm not going to say that word on... that Snodgrass was described as on Radio Sheffield, but I think it describes Terry as well for me. But
it happens though, doesn't it?
He had the rep in his pocket, yeah.
It happens with a lot of ex-big name players. You know, he is still a big, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying he's not a big name player, but it does seem to happen sometimes, especially with Premiership referees, in that they'll talk to them by name. He'll be like, sorry, John. All right, John. And it's like, no, once you're on that pitch, he is just any other player. And there were a couple of times when Rooney was playing back in the early days, and, you know, you could see referees calling him Wayne. And you think, no, this is a match. He should still have to turn round so you get his name off the back of his shirt. It shouldn't matter who he is. And he did, like you said, he had him in his pocket from the first minute they kicked off. It was awful. It was dreadful.
I mean, you mentioned that he didn't get a great hold of the game, but he certainly got a great hold of Mr. Bruce, didn't he?
He did. They had a lovely hug on the sideline, didn't they? That was very nice for him to do that. Yeah.
I
think
that before.
He spent more time that match telling Bruce to get back in his area than he did with the bloody game.
But do you know what? If it was I was a referee and it was a choice between hugging Bruce and Lukai, what the hell would you do? You'd go and hug Bruce every day, wouldn't you?
He does look like quite a huggy person, doesn't he? I feel like Lukai would just like kick you, but I feel like Steve would just give you a right big snuggle. I like Steve Bruce. And I've mentioned it before. When we went to Cardiff, God, how many years ago is that now? 13 years ago? And we went to Cardiff, and obviously Alex Bruce was in our squad. And I remember he was sat near us in the stand, and he was sobbing his eyes out at seeing his son get a good game. Like, it was nice to see, like, seeing an actual dad and not being Steve Bruce. But it also made me question why Alex Bruce wasn't in the Villa squad, because he seems to follow his dad around everywhere. So, you know, who knows?
Probably not that good.
Put a bet on it.
Yeah.
I must disagree about Steve Bruce. I've got a picture of Mr. Bruce up on the biscuit tin to keep the kids away. Of course, he's an ugly.
Yeah, that nose is a little bit bent, isn't it? You know.
Bless his cotton socks.
He does look like he spent his career in rugby, doesn't he? Not football.
I think a hug from Jos, it could tickle you a little bit with that little moustache that looks like he took years to grow it. And
it's just not right, is it? I can't figure out what is wrong with that tash. I just can't. I don't want to sound like Martin Lawrence here, which I'm sure we'll get onto, but I cannot understand what is wrong with it. But something is just not right. I don't get it. It's like Kelly Clarkson, and after years, I realised, you know what it is? She's got really little arms. So maybe at some point. Yeah, honestly, you look at listeners, Rich, Lord H, you look at Kelly Clarkson, her elbows are really high up and she's got really long forearms. And that is what is weird, right? So at some point, Joss's tash is going to hit me and I'm going to realise what it is. But for now, I just can't. It's just weird.
Oh, she has. Yeah, right. Yeah, right. Bloody hell. Anyway, what are we talking about her for?
I think Josh's task might still be a work in progress because he had shaved it up at one point, hasn't he? So I think when the full power of the tash comes in, that's when we'll see the Wednesday team playing properly. But and let's face it, when you do have a little hug, there's nothing better than a little tickle, is there, Rich? When you're having a little snuggle with Mr. Joss, it'd be absolutely marvellous.
I'm not going to comment on that right now.
Now, there are one or two positives to take from the Villa game because I think we did, let's say, play incredibly well first half. And how good was it to see Mr. Clare? Because he had a lovely, lovely game. He had a little bit of a fluff up one of the goals, but other than that, he had a lovely game, didn't he?
Do you know what? He's something we haven't had for ages, probably since Carlton Palmer. He's a box-to-box midfielder.
He doesn't stop.
He'll go and get the ball deep. He'll run with it, and when he ran,
I'm so glad you phrased that right there.
Okay. When he ran at the Villa defence, they hadn't got an answer to him. They just could not deal with him, and we haven't something we've not had for a long time. And Sod's Law, he'll probably be out of contract at the end of the season, and he'll bugger off somewhere to Everton or something like that. But there we go. Not being I'll try to be negative.
It's either that or risk breaking every bone in your body for the next 4 years. It just, I think But no, you're right. It was. I must admit, I don't. As much as like there were negatives from the game, obviously we conceded a lot, but I do feel like it was quite a positive game. I didn't come away too angry, apart from the official. I didn't particularly come away angry at any particular player. I thought everyone did all right, but Claire obviously really, really stood out. And I don't know what it is, but I want to call him St. Clair all the time. I don't know why. But anyway, Sean St. Clair really stood out. Like you said, he's box to box. He's definitely one for the future. And to see him get a goal as well was just outstanding. Like, hats off to him. Is he Sheffield as well, or is he? No. Another Thornley that we've brought in from
he's a Cockney. Well, he's from down south anyway. They're all Cockneys down there, aren't they?
So we signed him from somewhere.
I'm not sure whether that was the case, but he's a Southerner. Yeah. So the chant from the cop, he's one of our own. He's kind of he's not really.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I think it's been a long time since that happened.
You can sing that to Dawson and Wildsmith, but Sean Clare's not from Sheffield. I'll Google him in a moment and I'll find out exactly where he's from.
But the actual goal itself as well, it wasn't just the strike, which was fantastic, let's face it, but it was a really lovely team goal as well, wasn't it?
It was, my lord.
Wing, a lovely
Who got involved in that?
The saviour of the Football Club.
For fuck's sake.
Was kind enough to gift Mr. Clare his first goal for Sheffield Wednesday with a beautiful, quite possibly the best bit of football I've seen this season, with a magnificent chest down.
Do you know what? I'm beginning to agree with you that he is a saviour, but that's how shit we freaking are in a minute. That he is our saviour, for God's sake. And Sean Clare's from Hackney, by the way.
All right.
Absolutely. Other than that, with the Villa game, obviously the ref and the goals, and I mean, Zhao's header was a cracking header, and of course we did see him do the old thumb suck as well, which I'm still...
The what?
The old thumb suck. Once he scored.
I don't get that. I get it if they've just had a baby. I do not understand it. I don't know where it comes from. I just don't get it.
What we need here is our European correspondent, Mr. Dan Fudge, to explain why all European people suck their thumbs. But
what is it then? Do you know?
I have not got the foggiest. If you know, answers on a postcard, or just tweet us also. But I really would like to find out what on earth that's all about. Apart from that, with the Villa game, I think that's about it, isn't it? It was a lovely... I did come away quite positive, as Vic said on the breath. The defending from the goals could have been better.
We felt it. I don't want to give him much airtime, but Snodgrass is a one of those.
I was going to say, I'm sure if we can get hold of the audio from Radio Sheffield, or if we can retweet that from somewhere, that was absolutely classic. I really wish I'd heard that live.
One of my friends at the match came out with a classic line. Halfway through, he stood up and went, "Snodgrass, do you want a fucking towel down there so you can lay down as well?" And it was just a classic line. He's like, giving all this grief. But what an arse. Typical.
It's like you want to hate him anyway, don't you? Because of where he's played in the past. It's always going to happen. But he was just, to me, that was not. If I'd have got a son, and like Rich, obviously you take your two sons, that to me is not showing them good sportsmanship. That is showing them cheating. And I know we've got Forestieri, and don't get me wrong, I've said a million times on here when I've thought Forestieri has been in the wrong for acting up like he does. But if you're taking two lads who are trying to play football at school level, competitive level, whatever, that is not a good example to be showing them, because he won the game by cheating, that guy, and he can't be proud of himself. He cannot be.
Oh, I'm sure he probably is. I'm sure he
probably earns more than I earn in a year every week. He's probably very proud of himself. But I hope one day, Robert, you wake up and you realise that your entire career has been an absolute joke, and you spent more of it on the floor at Hillsborough than you did anything else.
And he's Scottish to boot. I mean, what the hell?
He's quite fit, though. He is quite fit.
Victoria.
Oh, dear.
How rude. Hashtag woman.
To be fair, though, I mean, we've had our own Scottish chaps that do like to wind up the opposition, haven't we?
Yeah, a little man, yeah. That little man that's not been very good recently and has probably played his last game for Wednesday now, but there we go.
We'll come through.
I disagree. I think he has been very good recently.
Nah. I
think his last two games have been better than all season.
Was he like, as that's his saviour? What is this, like Jesus Christ and God we've got in this team?
I like to go with probably Matthew, Mark, Luke, John. I don't think he's quite the saviour, but I think he's behind the saviour, and he'll hand out some fishes.
You
and
don't
some
watch the
bread
same games, do you? You really don't sometimes.
We can blow at half time. That's why.
So after that, of course, we're all really looking forward to our wonderful cup run as well, and of course we were off to Swansea, or should I say, Rich, you were off to Swansea.
Yeah.
Why are we even recording this? This is awful.
I don't know. I think that there are again some. I mean, it was a. Again,
just as that had got out of the way, then you say about the cup run. It's like, I forgot. Oh crap! I could be watching Coronation Street.
Do you know what? I as you said, I made the trip down to Swansea, and if you'd listened to the podcast a week before, you know why. It was a bit of a pilgrimage to my father that was born in Swansea. So I went and did a few bits down. I went early doors, went and did a few bits there, and had a lovely day, apart from the bloody match where it was freezing and crap. And I said cold. When I got down there, I was talking to Paul and Jeff from Wednesday night, and I was talking to them and said, I've had a lovely day. This is the one, but it couldn't knacker it. And it did. Quite, it was cold. I'd just rather have stopped in the pub, I think, and carried on drinking with a few Wednesday fans and leave it at that. But
I was thinking of you when I saw on the telly that a lot of people had blankets, and I was like, "Oh, Rich, I wish I packed you up with a blanket before you went."
I had 5 layers on. It was that cold. It was that cold.
Did you wear your big coat?
I wore a big coat. I had a jumper, a t-shirt, hoodie.
Thermals.
I even had a bobble hat on. It was that bloody cold. I didn't have my thermals on. Just always commando as usual, Vic. As you know.
God. Oh, I hope you did have a blanket over it.
Completely.
But I mean, the first half performance, although it wasn't a wonderful match to watch, I did think the defensive performance from us was quite good.
Do you know, it was just we were just playing it across the back, though, weren't we? And at times you're like, just get it forward, and it was frustrating to watch. It's There's no attacking. There's nothing. There was nothing attacking wise there. It was just passing it across the back 5. And then back to the keeper, and then forwards, and then you thought, "Oh, go on, we'll push forward a bit," and then Boyd would try and do something, and then pass it back again, and it's so bloody frustrating to watch. It was awful game.
I think it was more frustrating for you because you were stood in the absolute bloody freezing cold and miserable, and had a long drive, and like you said, Sheffield Wednesday ruined your day. For me, sat at home on my nice new sofa with a blanket over my knees, it was quite a good first half, to be honest. I was quite impressed, and I thought, I don't think, like you said, nothing was really going to happen up front, but I do think, things were tidy, things were neat, and I think we almost matched up to them. But then it was literally, and I know 9 games in 28 days or something we're facing. I know they're knackered, but for Christ's sake, guys, they literally, the majority of the squad out there earn more in a week than I earn in 3-4 months, and we're knackered after 45 minutes. Well, you're in the wrong job. You're in the absolute wrong job, and Jos needs to get a hand on that there.
They were there for taking, though. They were absolutely there for taking, and we didn't step up and do it.
100%. We could have easily put that away. And the thing is that frustrated me as well is that I know we mentioned the C word, the double C word, but he only left just before Christmas. These guys know exactly what he's going to play and how he's going to play it. Surely that should feed into the way that they're going to go for goals and stuff. And it just didn't. I do think, and as much as Rich will probably laugh at this, I do think there was time a little bit earlier on for the saviour of Sheffield Wednesday. I do think he could have made a bit more of a difference, to be honest. But it just wasn't set up right, was it? After we should have nicked that just before half time, or at least nicked a goal.
There was nobody stood out for me at all. There really wasn't. It was really disappointing to go all that way. And I had double meaning for going, but just to go and be that disappointed by it was just. I wasn't even shocked. I wasn't shocked, to be honest. And the funniest thing at one point in the second half when I was seeing Carlos as a Wednesday fan, I tell you what, he looked up at the Wednesday fans and he had a couple of looks. He's a Wednesday fan at heart, that kid. You could absolutely see
Didn't
it.
Didn't he say afterwards that he's got Carlos had a dream stitched into his coat? It's like, give it up, mate. Like,
but you could see when he looked up at us, he still wanted to wave at the Wednesday fans, but he knew he couldn't.
Well, he shouldn't have shafted us then, should he? But this whole Carlos, at least it's out the way now until next season when they come down and we have to play him again if he's still there. I'm so fed up of it. I did, I don't like to mention this, Rich and my lord, but I did an interview for TalkSport.
You not mentioned that.
I did another one on Tuesday, and literally every question was about Carlos. And a few people tweeted me saying, what you said was spot on, blah blah blah. But one guy tweeted saying, literally every answer to their question just pissed on it. And I was like, well, I don't want to talk about him. I have no need to talk about the guy. Like, I knew why I was on, and I'd spoken to them beforehand, and agreed. I'll do it if you mention X, Y, and Z about the podcast. But it was just. I'm not bothered. He got his reception at Wembley. He got his reception in the playoffs. Let's leave it at that. The guy did well here, very, very well, probably as well as, since Paul Sturrock. Well, even better, technically, but as well since Paul Sturrock. But he still left us, got a payout, and went to the Premier League. That's it. I'm done. I'm fed up of it. Stop talking. Well, I'm talking about him. Shut up, Victoria.
You are.
Going back to the actual game itself, I mean, we did carve out some chances. I don't think we're ever going to go and attack a Premiership team, no matter how iffy
We could
they've
have
been.
done.
I know we could have done, absolutely. But I don't think it was going to be on the cards. And playing that five did leave us a little bit short, maybe, in midfield.
The absolute highlight of my day was going to Swansea Market and having lava bread and cockles. That was the highlight of my day, not the football.
Disgusting.
Oh,
the thing is, my lord, like, that's easy for us to say, like, oh, we were never going to go out there and attack. But for people like Rich, I know you had another reason for going, but for the people that have travelled down there, they want to see somebody fighting him and they want to see an attack. You know, the league is absolutely foobarred at the moment. There's no way about it. It's a survival game now. Like, what is it, 7 points, something like that? Probably less since I last looked. And I know...
I'll tell you what, I'll ask you a question, Vic. Would you have rather sat in the cold and watched that football match with Rich, maybe sharing a blanket? Or,
of course you would. Of course you would.
Or would you prefer to watch it at home?
It's a non-question. It's a non-question, that, my lord.
Watch it at home on the BBC and listen to Mark Lawrenson.
Oh, God. I've heard it back. I turned it off after about a minute. I'm ready for poking my eyes out.
I think, to put it into perspective, my lord, recently I threw away some knives from my kitchen that had got a bit rusty, and I would literally rather shove one of them in each and every orifice of my body than speak to Mark Lawrenson or listen to him ever again.
Yeah, that's...
What an absolute vile scumbag. What a morbid sod. He was just so... And then he picked on Yoss's tash. I'm sorry. Aren't you Mark Lawrenson? How... He said, "Oh, I think that's meant to be a tash, but I don't know if it is a tash." Aren't you Mark Lawrenson with the worst tash in the entire world? Yes, you are. So shut up, you stupid little...
You had a pop at Tango, didn't it? Which was quite funny.
Yeah, just what an arsehole. Like, we get it, you don't like us. But you still... Yeah. My licence fee is still paying your salary. Shut up, man, and get on with commentating on the game. It was just ridiculous.
You tell him, Vic.
Well, I've had enough. My lord. I'm sick of this season. I'm sick of the snow. I'm sick of being stuck in my house. I'm sick of... I'm just sick of him. I'd love a Steve Bruce hug right now. If he was here, I'd snuggle into his little nose.
I'm passing your house about half an hour. Do you want me to pop in?
Yeah, just come and give me a cuddle.
Okay, no worries.
With your Steve Bruce mask on.
Yeah.
No.
Just I don't have masks. I would want to cover this face up.
Whether you're celebrating a birthday, a wedding or anniversary, maybe you've passed your driving test, or you've landed a new job. Well, whatever your reason for a party, the Riverside Cafe is the perfect location on Catch Bar Lane overlooking Hillsborough Stadium. To inquire about hiring us for your function, call 07989 856 054 or 014 232 6121.
Right, then, ladies and gents, let's crack on with some Wednesday news, shall we? As you mentioned earlier, Vic, first things first, Mr. Wallace is now out for the season. Now, of course, there's been a little bit of toing and fro with the Wednesdayites that some people think... I mean, look, don't get me wrong, I love Ross Wallace. I think he's a proper wind-up merchant. I love what he's done. The goals he's scored, the thunder chuffers he's knocked in, I love him to bits. He's not had the best of seasons, which I think we can all agree on. He's a gentleman of a certain age to be a footballer these days, which, again, to me, until this season, hasn't really shown at all. But do you guys think that we're going to see him in a Wednesday shirt again?
No. I'm just looking on the Wednesday website in a minute, right? And there's a player of the kind of a man of the month, as we call it, just literally gone up. And there's a list of players down here, and you can work through that. And there's 5 or 6 on there. Fox for me, Jones, Wallace, Louvens, Liam Palmer. That amongst others, I don't think will be here next season. We need rid. And Wallace is one of them. I just don't think he's been good enough. You're absolutely right. He's a man of a certain age. My friend who really likes him is going to hate me for saying all this, but it's time for him to go. We've had some good moments with him. Let's move on. Let's get somebody better.
Isn't he like 30? He's not... How old is he? I'm not 100%... 30, 33?
Keep talking and I'll Google it.
Okay. I agree. I think, like I've said before, season too long, and it's happened for a lot of players at this club. But I do feel sad. 32. So he's not that old, but for a winger he maybe is. Maybe maybe he'll move into centre mid or some point. But I do think the last couple of games, where he's been given his shot, he has picked up and he's done all right. But I think it's quite sad because, like we've said before, there's been chances this season when he's been 40 yards out, and actually 2 years ago he'd have had a shot and 8 times out of 10 they'd have gone in. Whereas this season he's just not been either confident or, I don't know, or not felt his legs were strong enough or whatever. But I do think it's quite sad because I think I think Ross Wallace gets a lot of flack, and actually for me, he's a modern day John Paul McGovern. I've said it before. I know they're both Scottish. I know they're both cheeky. But I think the style of play and the way that they wind up opponents is quite similar. And I think that when he leaves, I think it's such a shame that he won't leave with the admiration that John Paul McGovern still has. I do think that's a shame because I think Wallace did a lot for us in the Wembley season, a hell of a lot for us.
Yeah, I agree.
I just think it is, like we said, a season too long, and that is a real shame. But at the same time, I wish him well at Rotherham next season. I think he'll be great. But yeah, it's time, isn't it? And like you said, we'll not see him in a Wednesday kit again, and it is a shame. I would hope at some point, I'd love to see him as a coach at some point at another club. I'd love to see him do well. But yeah, that's it for me.
I think if Wallace was to disappear now and we didn't see him again, I think he would hold the admiration of the Wednesday.
He'd get a good reception. I think that the judge of a player, how good they were for us, is would they get a kind of, would they get applauded when he came back? Glenn Whelan got it against Villa, even though he scored against us. He got that, I wouldn't say arousing, but he clapped the crowd at the end and he got it back. He deserved it back. And Ross Wallace would be in that kind of, that same kind of arena for me.
I feel like that extra, what I'm saying is that extra season has kind of killed the sort of. John Paul McGovern left at a very good time in his career, went on to not bigger and better things, but went on to other things. Whereas Ross Wallace will drop down, possibly to the bottom of this. Well, we're at the bottom of this league, aren't we? Why am I saying that? But probably to the next league. But I think McGovern kind of left on a bit of a high, whereas I think, like I said, Wallace had a season too long, and I just hope that people remember, that he was one of probably 4 or 5 key players that were responsible for getting us to Wembley for the first time in 20 years. So I think for me, he'll always have that respect from me. And, the Huddersfield thing with the note, you can't forget that.
Absolute classic, yeah.
I think, I'm talking like the guy's died. But, last game in a Wednesday shirt for me, and I wish him all the best. Like, absolutely, from the bottom of my heart, wish him all the best, because I think he's been a great servant to the club.
Absolutely.
Couldn't agree more.
I do have a concern that maybe Mr. Louvens is getting to the point now where he might not.
He can sod off, let me tell you right now. Wembley or not,
he needs putting out in a field. He really does.
Flush him down, Lou, and send him off to that farm in the sky. I've had enough of him. I am not giving him the same
Blue Factory's coming for him soon.
That I give Ross Wallace.
But he did give us some wonderful, wonderful memories in those first couple of seasons. But right now, I think he's a bit.
It's very much like Carlos is right now. He was a season too much, and Louvens, Wallace, there's more, but they had all had a season too much as well.
Fair enough. A little bit of good news. It looks as though Fernando is back in the country by the looks of his videos that he's been sending out. So after he's plodding around Europe and wherever else he's been, it looks like he's back in the country. He's training hard. Do you think we're going to see him this season?
Too bloody late.
Bloody hope so. Really, really hope so. He was playing football on the garden this morning with his cockapoo. That's a dog.
Were you sat outside his...
No, I like to look at his Instagram. I like to look at his and his wife's Instagram, so I feel like we're friends because we've got a very similar dog. And I feel like at some point in Chapeltown Park, I'm going to meet him. But it hasn't happened yet. And my dog would attack his dog.
How often are you going to Chapeltown Park?
A few times, actually.
You fucking stalker.
Just in case, because I thought, how nice would it be? And I know his dog's. I'm not going to go into details, but I know his dog's name, and I have this like recurring dream that Rosie will talk to his dog, and I can be like, oh my god, are you friends now, Nala and Rosie?
What have you got in your hand now? Right now, Vic? You got a glass of alcohol?
No.
Huh?
No.
Okay.
But no, I feel like we could be friends. I do. I think that we could be friends, and I'd like that. But no, he was, like I said this morning, he was like running about in his garden. There was Instagram videos a couple of days ago of him doing training at Wednesday, and I was knackered just watching it.
She's drunk.
I'm really not. But honestly, if you watch that video, he's deleted it now because it was on his what do you call it, Rich? Come on, you know. Instagram story. So it just disappeared like after I'd watched it. But he was like running and honestly knackering just to watch him running around cones. It was like, so he's obviously back to very, very good fitness.
We're talking about him now, not the dog.
Not the dog. Not Nala. Not Nala, my friend Nala. No, he did look, he looked ready. He looked, you know, not ready to start again, but ready to kick off and let's see what happens with him.
Absolutely. Sooner the better, in my eyes, boys and girls. So we are missing a little bit of a spark, aren't we, with... obviously, we saw it a little bit with Sean Clare, but yeah, I think we're missing just somebody to shake things up a bit.
Sean Clare, the real saviour of Sheffield Wednesday, is that what we're talking about?
Not yet. He's still just a disciple at the moment.
Okay.
Right, so next thing on this, well, quite a big thing actually, of course, the accounts have been released, and probably more positive than we thought. James and the chaps over there from Owls Americas and Peter are going to do a bit of a podcast about this as well, an in-depth look at this like they did earlier on in the season as well. So we're not going to talk about this too much, but I mean, I was pleasantly surprised about how much money we hadn't spent or that we weren't owing and things like that. Were you guys positive about the accounts?
I'll be honest, I've not had a real good look at them, so I'll be interested to listen to James's podcast on that, just to see, kind of get a lowdown on it. But I also think our friend Nigel Short's done a blog on it as well, so it's worth digging that out. Have a look at Nigel's blog, because he's got a few, I think he's looked a little bit deeper into it, and he's got a few queries in there, but I've not read his blog as yet, but apparently there's a couple, as he was telling me last night, a couple of things that kind of probably need looking at a little bit in more detail, which I'll be looking forward to James and the guys doing.
Oh, reading is so 2002. We've got podcasts for this now, Rich. You don't have to read anything anymore.
I know. Can someone not just like text me the basic details and I'll be fine? I tried to read through them today and I sent you guys, all I could make out was that it's gone up massively in deficit and there's 2 directors. That was about it, to be honest. I don't get accounts. I just can't work it out.
No, I'm the same, but
30 bloody pages.
It's a wage bill that's took a big jump, isn't it? I think. And when you look at what we've got right now, and you're thinking, what the hell are we getting for this big jump? This 9 million jump, was it? I think from season 1 to season 2 of the accounts before the current one.
Yeah, it's still a drop in the ocean compared to what, I mean, for instance, Villa are spending and teams like that. So when you look at what we spend,
they're up the top of the league, mate.
Yeah, but had we had all these players that we're giving money to playing, then it might have been a different story.
Well, had we not broken them in half, it'd be a different story, wouldn't it? But I think that's why I want to listen to James and Peter's podcast, just because, like I said, I don't get it. I plead complete ignorance to it, and those guys do. And if you can put that in layman's terms for me, that'd be wonderful.
We need an advert for them. We need a jingle. James and Peter talk about some cash. Right, that'll do. Right, so as we sort of briefly mentioned on last week's podcast, we heard a bit of a rumour that Mr. Hurst might be raising his head above the parapet, and raise his head he did the day after. He's obviously played a game for the under-23s again, and it all went marvellously well.
Scored a goal, didn't he?
Did he?
Against Leeds, yeah, scored a goal.
And it also went down for a penalty that Abdi scored, I believe, as well. So he won a penalty.
So your tattoo is not going to wait?
Well, not yet.
What was who was that?
A young chap called George Hurst. You might have heard of him.
No. Who scored the penalty?
Abdi, I believe.
Who?
Yeah. Is this new player? He came out against Swansea. I don't know who he is.
And not so young chap called
completely lost on me, that one. No idea who you're talking about.
Now, of course, since the news came out that Mr. Hurst was again speaking to the club, playing with the club, I mean, do you guys still see this positive news, or do you think he's just trying to get fit for a move? Yeah, that was my reaction too. I'm really not sure what's happening anymore. But the fact that it's on the table and that we've seen him in Wednesday shirt again, I mean, it must be positive news, must it not? I mean, can we point this at our new CEO that's got this league back around the table?
I think they're seeming to be talking to some of these youth players that are coming through. Nat Thornley's got a new contract, hasn't he? They're talking to Claire Hurst. So it's about time we give the youth a chance, though. It's like, you know, if we've got these players there that kind of could be good enough or could progress to the first team, why are we not blooding them? And all right, yeah, it's changed since Carlos left, but you've got to give him a chance. And you know, Sean Clare already's looking the part. So how many more have we got that are looking the part? Thornley, before he got injured, was looking really solid at the back. So you know, Georges, we do need to try and keep him, but if we can't, we can't. We have to move on from it, don't we? Simple as.
Yeah, I know it's been sort of forced blooding, if you like, but I mean, the chaps that have come through the youth squad, I mean, I can see them being lower championship football players, and the only way they're going to get to a higher spec, if you like, is by playing games. So, yeah, absolutely. Let's get these chaps in and get them playing. Right, then, boys and girls, I mean, the last little thing, James sent us a little bit of news earlier. Stop the press, breaking news. There is a new watch selection in the shop at Sheffield Wednesday.
Ooh.
Vic, I think you were rather enamoured by one of them, weren't you?
The one of them looks like a baby G, which I had when I was about 12, and wasn't waterproof like it claimed. And my dad was furious at spending 70 quid on a watch. They just look crap, don't they? But I mean, is a football club watch ever going to look good? It isn't, is it? Let's be honest. But no, for me, I've got a watch and I wear it, and I won't be buying one of those pieces of crap, to be honest.
But I mean, people are always saying we want to see more in the shop, want to see this in the shop, want to see that in the shop, and then obviously
not rubbish.
Yeah, but the shop releases things, and then we all moan about it. So,
what's the shit?
As a consumer, what would you like to see them release, Victoria?
I would like them to see. I would like to see a canvas that I can afford, that I could put on the wall. I would like to see, I don't know, coasters. I'd like, a clock maybe. I don't want bedding or all that crap. But, the odd owl, you go to the range, right? My house, because I bought my house about 5-6 years ago. And when I moved in, everyone thought, I know what Victoria likes. She likes owls. I'll buy her an owl. And literally everything in my house is an owl. At some point, and it's all from the range. And they range from, I've got a doorstop that was about £5 to a chopping board that was about 7, that are all owl shaped, and they're all very, very pretty. Why don't we sell stuff that people will actually buy and use? When I went in, I've not been in since beginning of December. I went in for my cousin's 18th to buy him a shirt, and they literally, the only thing I could buy extra, because I bought him a t-shirt, bought him a hoodie, I was like, what else could I buy him as not a stocking filler, but just a little extra to open? They had mugs for £11. No, I'm not going to spend that on a mug. No chance. Or dart flights. How many people buy dart flights? Come on, Sheffield Wednesday. If the range can do it, we can do it. Even if it's double the price, fine, do it. But those watches are bloody awful.
Would you not like to see maybe some of the old merchandise, I don't know, the equivalent to a Reggie Blinker wig, maybe a big Dave,
Danny Wilson Toby jug.
Yeah,
brilliant.
A big Dave beard or a...
No.
I think that is what would sell.
You're now turning into a non-league aficionado. That's the kind of stuff that non-league football clubs do.
Yeah,
and I know this because I'm involved at one, as you know.
It was funny. If they brought back, if they did a Yoss Toby jug, I'd probably buy one for the laugh. And a lot of people probably would. And, school bags, why don't they do a school satchel like you used to buy from Soccer Sport for a tenner? Why don't they do a Sheffield Wednesday one for 15 quid? And parents would buy it for the kids. Lunch boxes, you don't see them anymore. I used to have a Aussie Owl lunchbox with a flask in the side.
Yeah, because everybody has school lunches, Vic.
I don't know. I don't go to school. But there's got to... I would take one to work, to be fair, if they did an Aussie Owl one. Yeah. But there's got to be something that they can sell. Other clubs make fortunes. And actually, that comes back to the accounts thing again. I think it was something like we turn over Christ knows what. But actually, there's only like a couple of $100,000 comes from retail. And there's so much more we could be doing. And I just don't understand why we're not.
I went into Swansea's club shop on Tuesday night just to have a mooch around, and I bought a scarf for my sons because of the links. It wasn't a half and half scarf, by the way. I think looking around there, they've got a lot of clothing there. It was a lot, but I think it's German that do their kit. I think from memory. And it all seems to be kind of their stuff that was in there, plus the odd scarves, hats, kind of thing. I didn't see a lot of the crappy other bits that we kind of sell or don't sell.
Like wallpaper borders. Bloody hell. With the old badge on. Who wants that? What kid? Like, Rich, you've got two lads now who are at the age that they would want to have a say on how their bedroom is decorated.
They've both got Wednesday bedspreads.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, but if you brought home Wednesday wallpaper, like border paper, and it was the wrong badge, would they not be like, Dad, that's not even right? Like, but what are we doing? Why have we not got the new badge on stuff? Why are we not going out there? Thermos flasks, things that people use every single day, and would be willing to pay £2-3 more for a Wednesday badge on it. Bloody make them.
I was just checking when it was the old badge or the new one on their bedspreads. And it is the new one. It's the old one,
isn't it? I thought it was the old.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
You obviously weren't looking well enough when you came up to my bedroom.
I was too enamoured into your eyes.
That's it. Can't turn it up.
Just imagine if there'd have been some lovely Sheffield Wednesday sort of eye covers on there as well. It'd be absolutely marvellous. But no, I'd like to see a Big Dave Beard and an Almen Abdi pot. I think that'd be absolutely fantastic. Right then, boys and girls, a bit of a quick one this week. Do you guys have any other little bits for today?
I've just picked up a couple of things that are on the website. So I'm seeing that Tom Lees is back in the frame for tomorrow's game, Bristol City game. So that's really good news. And the other thing is, obviously, as I said earlier, Man of the Month is now out, and I was just kind of interested to see kind of what your thoughts were on Man of the Month for February. It's a tough one, isn't it?
Do you want to go or shall I?
Well, I have voted already.
Who would you pick, my lord?
The saviour of Sheffield Football Club, Mr.
For God's sake, he's done nothing.
He sat on John Terry.
He's chested one ball down.
He didn't just chest one ball down. He gifted the beautifulness of Mr. Clare his first goal for Sheffield Football Club.
I went down the route of Cameron Dawson after his couple of good performances in the FA Cup.
I think he's a good shout. Or I would go for Sean Clare, to be honest. I think, give the lad a bit of praise for what he did. I know obviously we didn't win the game, but he played so well, like we've said, and that's got to be a confidence boost. If we can let's all vote Sean Clare. Sean St. Clair, as I like to say. But let's all vote Sean Clare. Let's just go for it. Let's just see if we can do it.
Of course, one thing that I did forget to mention that I really wanted to ask you as well, Rich. Of the Swansea game, obviously, even when it became apparent that we weren't going to win the game, the Wednesdayites were singing.
What, before we kicked up, you mean? Yeah.
The Wednesdayites didn't stop singing at all throughout the entire game. I mean, what was the feeling like in the way in? Because it sounded brilliant.
It was a good atmosphere, but I think every time Butterfield got hold of the ball, and you were sat probably doing exactly the same at home, there was a load of grief. He was getting a load of grief for it because he was poor. I think everybody's quite optimistic while light-hearted about it, but then there was light-hearted frustration is probably the mood. But people were up for a laugh, and a lot of people had probably been out since set off to Swansea quite early, and I'd had a few, but not as much as some of the people I was talking to. It seemed to have a lot, but so yeah, it was a lot. Quite, people had made the effort, and it's just a shame that the players didn't put as much effort as the fans did to get down there.
Rich, can I just ask, as somebody who obviously travelled and went there, do you agree with the calls on social media for refunds to fans that travelled? I've
not seen that, but what for?
There were people that would tell the players should, refund the fans that actually went down. So I think it amounts to something like 28 grand or something like that.
I didn't feel that. Yeah, it wasn't value for money. If you look at it like that, I'd not really thought it before now. I wouldn't ask for a refund on it.
If you hadn't have had if you'd have just gone down as a fan and not as somebody with a pilgrimage to Swansea, would you be a bit more pissed off, do you?
No, not so. No, I was pissed off about the result.
It's football, isn't it?
But it's just football. You pay your money, and you'd have to take something a lot worse than that for me to say, I want my money back.
Yeah, I think, I go back to, and I've mentioned it before, I went to Brighton when we went down with a draw, and I think, if anyone deserves a refund, it's those fans that went to that day. So, yeah, you can't kick off about it. But there was a lot of call on Twitter at players saying you should be refunding this, and I don't know. I suppose it costs a lot to travel to Wales as well, doesn't it?
I'm not going to get upset about tennis for football, but
it's the tennis, though, is it? It's the travel.
Probably not the right person to ask about going all that way. Somebody that wasn't invested in different reasons might be different.
Just interested, that's all.
The point I was trying to make was I thought the Wednesday fans were amazing. On the night, on the team.
That's all you could hear. It was all you could hear with Wednesday fans.
I don't think away games always are like that, though. I enjoy away games more for the atmosphere than home. Always.
Yeah, same.
Fantastic. Right, so we've got a couple of matches coming up. First of all, Bristol City tomorrow, because we're recording late this week, which is rather unusual, isn't it? And Bristol have been so easy, I would say this is a bit disrespectful, but this is going to be another difficult game, I think, isn't it?
Yes, in short, I'm not seeing us coming back with points from this one. I'll be honest. I don't think we're gonna win this one.
No, I'd agree with that. I think it could potentially be quite embarrassing, actually. Bristol, I like we mentioned before, me and Dan Fudge love Bristol on Twitter just because their gifts are absolutely outstanding. I've got a soft spot for them. Bristol City. Sorry. No one cares about Rovers apart from Chris Lyons. But I followed them on Twitter because of the GIFs, and I enjoy seeing them. But there are certain players that pop up every single week. You think, oh my Christ, they're going to do a job on us. Like, absolutely. I don't see it going well. But I've got a soft spot for Bristol City. I can't, not just because this, for other things. I don't see it going well. And the thing is as well, like with the weather in Sheffield and with the weather south of Sheffield especially, just be careful if you're going. It's only a football match. If it's too bad, turn around. Like it shouldn't be on, apparently.
That was when we went to Swansea, we were obviously quite concerned about the weather going down. And it was like, if it had been anything but, I would have turned around, because it was not worth the risk. Absolutely not. And I was supposed to be in Liverpool tonight watching boxing, and I've kind of now I'm not travelling M62, so it is, if safe and sorry, guys.
You'd have a job, it's shut.
I think Rich would be lovely sleeping in this car all night. I think it'd be a lovely evening.
Yes, thanks for that, mate. Thanks, yeah, I was going to enjoy going to see one of my play.
Genuinely, it's not worth it, is it? If it's risking your life and your family's life, your friend's life, just don't go. Like it's Radio Sheffield will cover it anyway. I think it's crazy to still keep the match on, to be honest. And I think, given the month we've had, we could probably do with a weekend off, fans and players.
And so after we all come back safely from Bristol as well, then we've got the visit of Ipswich Town, or Barnsley Mix, back at Hillsborough again. And again, Ipswich have been a funny one this season, and they always they're one of our little bogey teams, aren't they, Ipswich? And they do my chuffing nothing. Because it's Nick and he's got that stupid, dirty, wannabe Yorkshireman smile on his face, hasn't he? God, I'd love to beat them. I really, really would. Can we agree and put some positive vibes out? Because you two moan a lot. Can we put some positive vibes out there that we will be beating Ipswich 7-0?
There's positivity and there's reality, isn't there? You know, you've got to be realistic. I'd hope we'd get something against Ipswich if the game's on, of course, with weather as it is. But we just need to start winning, don't we? It's simple. It doesn't matter whether it's tomorrow at Bristol City or it's Ipswich Town, but we just need to start getting wins and just making sure we finish mid-table and then wash it up and start again.
Well, I'm going to be positive and we're going to win them both 7-0, so it's going to be absolutely fantastic. Right then, Richie. So if people want to see you stuck in your car whilst you're on the motorway,
I'm not going to Liverpool, so I'm going to stick local tonight. But you can find me at Dickie L. And if you want to see some cockles and lava bread from Swansea, the lava bread does taste like shit. By the way, the cockles were all right. Yeah.
What's lava bread, by the way?
Lava bread
I saw
is
the
seaweed.
picture, and it wasn't bread at all, was it?
No, it's not. It's not bread. It's seaweed.
That's false advertising, isn't it? That.
Well, it's not lava either, is it? So you know.
It looked like lava. It looked like it. It was disgusting.
Let's sue Wales.
You should try.
My darling, if people want to get involved with your doggy exploits over there on the Twitter, where can we do that as well?
My dogging exploits, did you just say?
Oh,
doggy.
Oh, sorry. Either way.
Yourself and Mr. Fernando.
Oh, sorry. Yeah.
Yeah, you can go to Loxley Common car park where you'll find Vic.
I flashed twice with my lights. No, it's... Anyway, you can follow me on Twitter at Victoria1867. I am a lot quieter at the moment, just because I realise how much of a miserable bitch I sound. So, yeah.
You've been thinking that for ages.
Alistair,
you thought that for 15 years, bitch.
Just a nickel bit.
Of course, if you'd like to get on me over there on Twitter, you can do that at Lord H, that's L0RD_H. Get on the podcast at TWWcast. Find us on the website at thewednesdayweek.co.uk. And of course, over there on the YouTubes and on the Facebooks and everywhere else you do that kind of thing as well. It has been an absolute pleasure speaking with you again, ladies and gents. Thank you so much for joining us. Be good, be safe, and we shall see you real soon.